But with their current momentum, Glowstick was not slowing down. Their efforts were being put into a substantial update that dropped later that month. Before we get there though, might as well mention the official Discord server. To accommodate the community's multiplayer needs, Vince set up a Discord community server for players to share codes and discuss the game. Only real thing the Discord was missing were voice channels, but let's just say the community found a way around that little issue. Elementary Evil was added. Hooray! I love this level in the original game, and it's one of my preferred maps in M&M. The fake portals return as hazards during trap time, but detonate shortly after contact. Touch them and back away ASAP. Being too close will deal a massive 100 damage, just like the tall spike traps. Now there are two complications with the portals. Exhibit A. The spawning can be really cheap at times and put too many in one area. There's a clear solution though, just decrease the proximity with how they spawn. A similar thing occurs with the bananas on Monkey Business as well, but the portals are lethal. Now Exhibit B. A portal spawning on you. If a portal happens to spawn on top of your unlucky self, well do I have 100 damage for you. For this, I'd recommend making the portals not trigger contact for the first second or so that players have time to get out of the way before meeting an unfair punishment. Cool trap idea, just needs some adjustments and not to be too annoying. Next up, boss time. What the heck is that? About a week before this map entered the game, we got this gem of music uploaded, and it was obviously for the school's boss time. Speculation ran wild even before this track on what the boss could be. The most common prediction was a teacher or the ghost children from Zone 2, but instead we got these little annoying symbol things. God, what are those called? The alphabet letters threw a lot of people off guard. 7 spawned during their chant and raised anarchy across the school. To compensate for their number, they can only deal 10 damage per hit, which in my opinion can honestly be buffed to 15. Not many die to the letters, and there's just simply not that threatening gameplay-wise. Design-wise, I'm a fan, however. Part of me also wishes that the developers made all 26 letters and the game would just randomly pick 7 of them to spawn in. It would do wonders to the level's replayability, and there wouldn't be too many gameplay changes, since the only difference between letter to letter is that their speed is slightly randomized upon appearing. Batter up, because we finally got a new mode, Soul Collection. Essentially just Shard Man with mortals, i.e. Immortal Free-for-All, but with a twist. Whoever's in last place by the end of a shard wave is killed and gets turned into a monkey by Malik, reinforcing to everyone how Murder Monkey was just okay and nothing more. I had a thought once that Malik should transform you into the monster native to the map that you're playing on, but then I remembered that Ducky and Agatha ults existed and I appropriately shut down that idea. Definitely an interesting mode, but let's be honest, not many people are willing to play it. At least over time, the game mode got a bit more interesting with new characters and a shard increase that I'll touch upon later, but this was easily the least popular way of play. The next large topic of discussion on the chopping block is that M&M now had an economy. The store was now open for business, selling skins and concept art. Items were classed as either common or rare and could be bought with 5,000 soul shards or 25 red shards respectively. Jesus Christ, that's kinda pricey, don't you think? I know this game is effectively having you sign away your soul with how much grinding is required to unlock everything, but god damn. And the fact that you had to pay for concept art was a bit on the lamer side. They should have been achievements, but the skins were way more praised in comparison. Not a single one of these I hated. They were all great at best or just decent at worst. They initially didn't show up on clown clones for some reason, but that was fixed within the following week from what I recall. A leveling system was now present with a bar that was incremented every time you won. Each level up would award you with soul shards, and occasionally red ones. Levels were the basis for tiers, which are honestly nothing more than bragging rights. This brings us to the stats tracking menu, which displays a wide array of statistics based on your play history. I was kinda disappointed when this page didn't include info like your time played with certain characters and, stuff like that. But hey, I'm still sane, so it must not have been that big of a deal. For those who leave games earlier than they should, the next time they log in, they will be face to face with this pop-up. Now, one would naturally assume that doing this again would result in some kind of penalty, but nope. It's apparently supposed to deduct 1 red shard from your total, but this mechanic was never implemented, and it is a huge issue. There are literally no consequences to just dipping out of games early, same for those who cheat with stuff like UE Unlocker. How it's taken so long to add this is beyond me, but hopefully one day these concerns will be addressed. Time to talk meta. People began realizing the viability of Malik and Bierce around this time, and even Nixon got a pretty damn good boost with the addition of Soul Collection. Having an ultimate that just immediately collected a fair amount of shards on the map was a must-have in this mode. Sure, he couldn't really defend himself that great, but that ultimate was too good to pass up for many. What's that sound, you ask? It's the sound of the police, but it's also the sound of a Detective Evans nerf. The stun on his flashlight was lowered from 10 seconds to 7, but he was also still fairly popular amongst players. So that was pretty much the update, which to date was probably the most influential patch we got in terms of pure content. This update added so much, and that cannot be understated. However, Glowstick was far from done with pumping out new content. Our first DLC was underway. We honestly didn't get that much until just a few days before release. We got the shop theme uploaded to YouTube, which is honestly a bop. Oh yeah, the steamed music trap released before the EE update, I forgot to mention that crap. But let's get to the point here, the Monstrum DLC showcase. Hosted by Glowstick's editor at the time, Super Horror Bro, we got an in-depth look at what was in store for the player base. The map, the characters, the traps, bosses, a release date, everything. This was a very satisfying presentation. There was really only one complaint about the content showcased, but we'll get there in due time. The Steam page went up, and the day after we got the trailer. Honestly, doing these DLC trailers after their showcase is kinda pointless because we pretty much know everything in the video. Footage used in the trailer was also used in the showcase, so that's a thing I guess. But hey, that barely matters. What does matter is that the Monstrum DLC for M&M launched on December 21st and was absolute fire in more ways than one. All aboard the Hisamaru, another outside map, but this time at sea. A faithful yet still unique recreation of the original ship in Monstrum, this stage felt like the perfect blend of both games. It was also our first map to introduce multiple floors to traverse, 4 layers to duke it out in, collect shards, and dodge this level's unique hazards. Steam traps, they were annoying in Monstrum, they're annoying here, checks out. Nah, these things aren't really that bad if you know what you're doing. Just wait if you need to move before going onward to avoid the gas. Honestly, this is one of those fairer traps in the game. My only issue is that sometimes they'll just come straight out of the wall instead of the pipe. 0 out of 10, literally unplayable. But hey, remember when I said people had an issue with the showcase? Well, there you go! Super Brutes, a group of 4 scorching enemies. See, here's the thing, the Brute is already a playable character in the game. The Super Brute, or Boss Brute as I'm also going to be calling it, is an original creation for this DLC. Now this may or may not be the definition of time constraints. Many were yearning for the hunter from Monstrum to climb aboard as the level's boss monster. Now that would have been really cool and completed this trio of Charlie's Devils, but it's nothing losing sleep over. I mean, hey, at least the Super Brutes aren't completely annoying, right guys? Right? Oh god damn it. These bosses can shoot fireballs and set you ablaze. Now that wouldn't be so bad if they didn't deal 100 frickin' damage. Getting hit ignites you and deals damage over time until you hit 100. But here's the issue, you see, the Super Brutes were never properly educated on what collision was, so these fireballs are no stranger to clipping through parts of the map to get to you. This makes the mechanic even more unfair than it has any right being. They are incredibly annoying, but thank god you can glitch them. Their drop-in is about the only praise I can give them, but don't worry, we'll be discussing an equally annoying sack of pain later on. I'll give you a hint, his name starts with Red Pyramid Fin and ends with G, happy guessing. Back on topic, characters! The Brute is here as a power monster and can pull off an ability deemed Magma Charge. This makes him essentially the fastest thing in the game, and contact with him will burn you to a crisp, just like the boss Brutes. Not much else to say, I'm saving my words for our next adversary, the Fiend. Levitating with his psychic abilities, the Fiend has a reverse Agatha ult. Instead of teleporting to others, they will be transported to you with a stun, and the opportunity to lay absolute waste to them. This honestly feels like cyberbullying. Fiend's ult was basically Primal Fear, but just cutting out the step of needing to find someone to stun first. And just like Agatha, he went for opposing players with the lowest HP, and because this was a stun, Jesus Christ it was OP. Immediately, this was better than Agatha in terms of damage, but say the victim of this abuse survives the ordeal, what then? The devs decided to just straight up give Fiend a passive ability for some reason. Landing a successful heavy attack pulled the opponent closer to you, which was just the icing on the cake for this migraine factory. The 2 people who mained Pen had to hide until this update blew over, and I can't blame them. If you were Pen in a game with a Fiend as the monster, they already won, I'm sorry. I said this update was absolute fire, quite literally with the Brute abilities lighting people up, but the Fiend essentially set the community on fire, and the nerf was universally demanded. However, if you think Fiend's place in the meta was overpowered, wait until you hear about Nixon. This dude literally ascended and became a god emperor with this update, I'm not even joking. The number of shards in Soul Collection was increased tenfold and it was nuts. It made the mode way more enjoyable with the constant pickups, but it came with a price. How to win Soul Collection: pick Nixon, charge your ult, wait until a new shard wave hits, press Q, and bam, over 100 shards in your bank account. GG easy, no refunds. Although Nixon wasn't completely uncontested to be fair, our final new character of the DLC, Prisoner Borisov, a power mortal that ultimately replaced Evans in the meta. His ult works a bit like the detective, but slows down players rather than completely immobilizing them. Freezing people with your fire extinguisher helped significantly in either mode that supported mortals. So that was the Monstrum DLC, top tier map, but it introduced so many broken things into our hearts. Oh well, when the game is unbalanced, at least we always have the store to turn to. My shopping addiction should help cheer me up. Wait, what do you mean there's no new items in the store? Yeah, so purchasing a DLC not only gifts you the characters you paid for, but they also all come loaded with each of their skins ready to go. I mean, sure, that makes sense because you already paid real money for this and not in-game currency, but I'm the type of guy who likes unlockables. Why else do you think I keep badgering on about achievements? Actually, wait, I spoke too soon. Alongside a balancing update, we got holiday skins for the Glowstick mortals. These were pretty snazzy and they were set to be available for purchase year-round, not just for the season, despite what they were. But come on, if you're still watching this, you obviously care at least a little bit about the meta, so let's discuss the balancing changes. The Purge finally happened. Nixon, Clown, and Fiend all met their deserved fates, and their reigns were over. All three are still pretty decent to play today, but they are nowhere near as busted as they once were. They could no longer dominate games, but the rest of these maniacs were left untouched. Why? This patch also tried to finally slam the nail in the coffin with lobby mistakes. Ever since the beta, there's always been a chance that the lobby just gives up and allows two monsters a maze escape. It's relatively uncommon to come across today, but it could still happen unfortunately, and a solution doesn't seem to be on the way. Not even Nixon knows what the game's deal is. Some minor collision bugs on the monster map were fixed, and the telepathy item got some adjustments. Its duration was reduced by half, and it now worked properly on Mortals and Soul Collection. And oh dear god, I just realized this video is so long because I keep bringing up minute stuff like this. Moving on. At this point, the future was looking pretty bright for the community, both DD and M&M fans, until the apocalypse happened. Yes, Chapter 4 unfortunately got hit with another delay, and people were angry. Some got a little too angry, but we're not gonna go into that. Unlike past delays, however, we actually got a different reason aside from we need more time. The team was looking to collaborate with a big publisher for Monsters and Mortals, and part of that agreement meant that the DLC had to be worked on sooner rather than later. Now I get how frustrating the Chapter 4 delay was, I really do. But this was evidently an opportunity of a lifetime for Glowstick. I can't blame them for taking it. Since we weren't going to be playing Chapter 4 anytime soon, all the community could do was gear up for this big announcement. I mean, this better be Silent Hill or something. Oh damn, it was! I don't know how in God's name Glowstick Entertainment managed to convince frickin' Konami to sign away their soul. Frickin' Konami to let M&M crossover as one of the biggest gaming names in all of horror, but it happened! Man, is this timeline interesting. For those unaware, Silent Hill is a AAA franchise with a massive audience. However, the franchise was laying rather dormant as Konami was being Konami and did this. So Silent Hill fans were praying for a new installment in their favorite horror series. Could this crossover satiate their appetite? I mean, I know the answer, but I'm acting like we both don't for the point of the video, so just go along with it. One by one, the character reveals were posted along with the stage's boss. Additionally, the trailer track, Daniel Dombrowski's version of Clawfinger, was uploaded with the statement that we weren't getting the rest of the music until later. The store page was put up with a really pixelated logo and a placeholder date that revealed that we get to play this before the end of March. Ultimately, this all led to the showcase on March 18th. Now, if the Monstrum DLC showcase was an A, this one was an A++. Every character, the map, the traps, the boss, the freaking gun, it all looked incredible. Even when under pressure, Glowstick proved that they can create a real crowd pleaser visually. Gameplay-wise, yeah, don't worry, we'll get to that in a sec. The page was updated and we got this news. Unlike Monstrum, the Silent Hill DLC was set to only be available for a limited time on store shelves. People who bought themselves a copy had access to the content forever, but new purchases couldn't be cashed after a certain point. This didn't sit well with the community, but there was nothing Glowstick could do. The DLC was also $9.99, which was already the price of the base game, but this was obviously bigger than the Monster one, so it didn't get under my skin that much. This was sadly just something they had to follow in order to work with Konami. It's unfortunate this is the case, but it's not the end of the world. As of writing, the DLC is still available and doesn't appear to be getting delisted anytime soon. But if you haven't bought it yet and still want in, I'd recommend you act now just in case. Just a few days before release, we got a new soundtrack and the DLC trailer, which did nothing except reveal how high-pitched Heather's voice was. Seal of Metatron! Yeah, remember what I said about DLC trailers coming after their showcases? Yeah, this is why. So March 23rd was your average Silent Hill DLC for Monsters and Mortals release day. Enough narrowing down, let's discuss what made up this pack.